Alright guys, we got a little upper body workout from a couple days ago. This was a chest and arm focused workout, and I'm leading here with one of my favorites, the incline lever arm chest press. This is just the home gym version of a machine incline press, and it's one of my favorites. I really like that big weighted stretch that you can get at the bottom, and keeping it really stable with it being locked into the machine makes it so that I can just control and push and really focus on the chest while overloading it really well. So I've got a couple angles here. That was my first set, and this is my fourth set. This is my final set here. So this is the only chest movement I'm doing in this workout, so I'm really getting everything out of it I can, controlling the negatives on the way down, as you can see, getting as much of that stretch as possible, and really pushing through and getting some good work in the chest. So you'll see here in a second, I'm really taking these to failure, especially on this last set. With it being locked in like this, it's a very safe movement to do. Yep, and there it goes there. And so that's a great one. It's been one of my favorites. So now we're moving into incline dumbbell curls, which is another favorite of mine. This is a fun workout. I've got the 35s here on the adjustable dumbbells, and I'm just really focusing on, again, controlling the negative, getting a big stretch. And I really take these past failure with the partials here at the end. This movement really works well with that. And I've been seeing a lot more literature, I guess you could say, out there about the lengthened partials and how important they are. So I've been incorporating that more and more, and I've found success with it. So just really, barely anything in that last one, but I think that's still a lot of good, productive muscle growth stimulus there, especially doing those sets over and over, session to session. So I'm going to do the same thing here with these incline pushdowns. This was a superset here. 3 sets of each. I'm doing all of my upper arm, bicep and tricep work supersetted, mainly just for efficiency, time-wise. I'll give myself, a few seconds to catch breath and grab a sip of water, log my numbers in between. But, pushing through here with the same thing, controlling the negatives, and taking this past failure with the partials. You'll see me start to get to those in a second. And I'm really liking this setup because, similar to the incline chest press, it's very stable, just laying back on the bench, and you can just control and get into the triceps and get some good work in on those guys. So I had 3 sets of those back to back, and then now we're moving into single arm dumbbell preacher curls, really controlling the negative. I'm speeding up some of the clips to make sure this doesn't take too long. Really controlling the negatives, especially as you get into the bottom there. You see that grind on that last rep there. And now I'm going to go into just negatives. So I'm not doing assisted reps where I'm trying to get some work on the concentric too. I'm really just letting that other arm take over on the way up and purely focusing on the negatives. That's another thing I've been seeing more and more about how important eccentrics and negatives are. And so that's something I'm starting to incorporate into my training a bit more. I'll probably do a video on just that idea and how it's working in my training specifically at some point once I've had a little more time. But so far I'm really liking the eccentrics. And so I've got the same thing going on here on the right side, really controlling the negative into that stretch, and then switching sides, or finishing up there. Now we're switching into overhead tricep extensions, single arm here as well, big weighted stretch. I'm leaning out of the way a good bit to where I can really get overhead but not kind of have the shoulder feel all bound up. That position will really just depend on your shoulder mobility. So getting a big weighted stretch there, same thing, and taking these as far as I can. And then now we're going to hammer preacher curls, which might seem a little redundant, but I'm not focusing on this for the biceps. This is really for forearms. I'm focusing on the brachioradialis here. And just like before, really controlling that negative as much as possible. I feel people fearmonger on the preacher curl a little bit too much about that bottom position, but it is a more vulnerable position for the elbow, for the tendons, obviously. So you want to really control those negatives, especially if you are going to a full range of motion or close to it, like you see me doing here. But that's also just going to give you more work out of the negative, which is better anyway. And yep, grinding through that last one. And it's going to keep the elbows happier, less agitated, less risk of agitation anyway. So getting this other side knocked out, controlling the negatives here, same thing. And then grinding through this last one. I really feel these light up in a good way in the brachioradialis, so I'd give them a shot if you haven't tried them out. So final movement here, focusing on more of the flexors of the forearm with these cable wrist curls. You can do the same thing with a dumbbell, which is what I did for quite a while, but I've really liked the resistance profile of doing it with the cable. Taking these pretty high reps here, so I'm speeding up the footage once again. And yeah, just taking them pretty much to failure. I'm a little more careful on these right now because I did have a wrist thing that was going on, some issues there that I'm recovering from that's doing a lot better now, thankfully. But yeah, just getting a good squeeze, control, really rolling out into the fingers for a big stretch. And that's pretty much it. Got 3 work sets of these each side. And I think this was a very productive chest and arm session. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks.